Hello, my name is Catherine Lovett, and I'm the Managing Director of the Clinical Research Institute. I'm going to talk to you today about the mission and services provided by the Clinical Research Institute, elements of protocol design, key areas of protocol review that the CRI will do and the Institutional Review Board or IRB will do, required documents to submit to IRB with the initial review, and then finally elements necessary for the IRB to approve the project. The mission of the Clinical Research Institute is to help you conduct clinical research. That's our sole reason for being around. We want to help faculty, students, and trainees do clinical research and publish it. Here is our organizational chart. As you can see, the Institute reports to the provost and then the president. We have an executive director, Dr. John Griswold, an assistant professor, Dr. Thomas Tenner. We have an advisory board that's made up of representatives from each of the schools, representative the Odessa and Lubbock campuses, the CRI leadership, the president, and the provost. You can see our staff listed down there in Permian Basin. We have 3 research nurses. In Lubbock, we have 5 coordinators, 3 are nurses, 2 are non-nurses. We have administrative support. We have a regulatory specialist that will do all of your IRB work for you, and 2 biostatisticians and a study monitor. The study monitor, her role is to really help you have quality data. She's a key member of the research team when it comes to the prospective studies and will help make sure that you don't have transcription errors in your data or blanks. As I alluded to, the CRI can assist with the following: study design. We send it at the very beginning to our statisticians to make sure that it's the appropriate design. We will do all of the IRB work. Any study done on humans cannot be done unless it goes to the IRB. This includes chart reviews and surveys. We will help conduct the study, whether it's inpatient or outpatient. And by conduct, I mean we will help recruit and identify study participants, schedule their appointments, help with procedures such as blood draws, EKGs. We will collect the data related to those and assist with any reports or manuscript preparation. And then data analysis, of course, we have the statisticians that will help you with that. So how does it work? You come up with a research project that you want to do. You're going to be the content experts. You're the ones out there in the clinic seeing things, identifying questions, and so you want to start with your question and doing your literature search, where the librarians can certainly help you with that. If you need a protocol template, there's one on the CRI website. After you do that literature search, you're going to start putting your protocol together and do a draft. Once you have the draft ready, you're going to go to this website and submit a CRI work order. It won't take but a few minutes. This is an internal document that helps the CRI with reporting metrics that we have to provide periodically and annually to the administration. To that work order, you're going to attach the protocol and the data sheet. And then once it is submitted, signed off by your PI and department chair, then the CRI gets that work order and those documents, and we'll help you finalize those documents. So you don't have to have it 100% the way you want it. We know what the IRB is going to want, so get it submitted to us, and again, we'll help you get through that. So once we have it all and we've finalized it, then you want to make sure that all your training is done and that you have an IRIS account. IRIS is the way that we communicate with the IRB. It is an internet-based system that can be accessed anywhere in the world if you have internet. So everything is electronic. Again, once we have the protocol and data sheet and any other study documents finalized, we will start to do this for you. Then once we get IRB approval, again, we have the research coordinators, whether nurses or non-nurses, that will help you with the project, with actually conducting it. What you will have to do as the study PI or COI is help identify and recruit the study subjects. See the subjects at each visit if that's required by your protocol, and be available to the rest of the study team for questions and signatures. A note here that TTUHSC policy requires the PI to be a faculty member, so residents and trainees can be co-investigators, but they can't be the PI. Once the study is done, again, the CRI is going to work with you to get it published, if at all possible. That's really the goal at the end of everything, is that you're able to share what you learned with the rest of the country, with the rest of the world. And we do this, our services are provided at no cost to you. CRI review. So what do I mean when I say the CRI is going to review your protocol? That means that one of our directors, our statistician, and maybe the monitor and the coordinator is going to look over those study documents for you to help you finalize it. Why are we going to do this? Well, because we want your project to be successful and the best that it can be. We don't want you having problems with getting IRB approval, and we want you to be able to publish your project. We know what the IRB wants. We know what they're going to look for. We know what verbiage is going to raise their blood pressure, potentially make them uncomfortable. So we will try and take care of that. When we look at it, we will revise the wording as necessary. And we also review it because our resources are being used, and we have to ensure that they're being used appropriately and in the most efficient manner. So in reviewing the protocol, we're going to look at the background section, and we're going to look for references that you cite to support your statements. We do this for a few reasons. One, it shows the IRB that you have actually looked at the literature, that you're not doing a study that's already been done 1,000 times before. You're actually building on this body of knowledge, and by citing those references, that shows the IRB that you did that. We're going to look at your methods. Specifically, the statisticians are going to look at the methods. Are the surveys or instruments that you're using validated? That will tell the statistician how to analyze the data from those instruments later on. Or are they surveys or something that you developed yourself, which is fine. They just need to know this at the get-go because it helps them develop your analysis plan. Are the devices you're using scientifically supported for accuracy and safety? Are you trying to use, for example, a Fitbit to analyze sleep data? A Fitbit, the data is interesting, but it's really not been shown to be accurate. So for scientific purposes, it may not be the best mode for looking at sleep. You might want to look at something else to evaluate that. Is the protocol focused? The smallest research takes a lot of time. So you want to make sure that when you're designing your projects that you're really looking at something specific so that you can be successful in what you're trying to do. It's very easy to get your protocol going and you're writing it and you're looking at this and somebody says, oh, it'd be very, very interesting to look at this as well or to look at that. And pretty soon you've got 45 outcome measures you're looking at, and maybe you don't have the population, a sample size large enough to achieve this. So we're going to help you look at that. We're going to help you avoid putting people on a study that's going to be set up to fail. We're going to look at your hypothesis. Do you have a hypothesis? Is it measurable? Is it manipulable? Are you looking at variables that are clearly identified, independent or dependent? Or do you have research questions? Research questions are not hypothesis. A hypothesis is your statement of what you think is going to happen. Research questions are just that. They're questions that you want to get answers to. We're going to look at the design and help you decide whether or not that's going to reach your goal. And this is really something, again, that the statisticians are going to look at. Isn't it appropriate for the level of evidence you're trying to reach? What are your outcome measures? Are they clear? Are they defined? That is really important to the statisticians to know at the beginning. And in looking at this, they're going to look at your data collection form to make sure that you've identified how you want that data collected. If you want weight, for example, is it in kilograms or pounds? The sample size justification, do you need a power analysis or is this a pilot project? The statisticians will help you with this. They will do your power analysis if you can provide them with the patients that you expect to recruit. That'll give them an idea. Do you have an effect size that you're able to detect? Is it a big effect size or a small effect size? Small effect sizes are kind of like trying to find a needle in a haystack. So that's going to tell them that you're going to need a larger sample size in order to have that effect show up and be noticeable or measurable. What is your attrition rate? Do you hope to put on 20 people, but you're going to have 10 of those most likely lost to follow-up halfway through the study or that drop out for some other reason? And do you want to replace them? And then the statistical analysis. The CRI is going to write this section for you if you want them to, and will review what is written if you have already put something there. And finally, we're going to look at the documents that are needed for your study and make sure that we have everything that needs to be submitted with that initial IRB submission. So for original research, for investigator-initiated research, the IRB is going to want to see your data sheet, any surveys, any advertisements, patient diaries, pretty much anything that that is going to be used for recruitment purposes, the IRB is going to want to see in addition to your protocol and the normal data sheet. And are these documents worded and formatted correctly? How do we do the review? We use track changes in Microsoft Word so you can easily see our comments and suggestions. We'll email these documents back and forth to you. And we really, if we make a comment or a suggestion, we either want you to make that change in the protocol or respond to that comment within the document itself. So we're available to discuss any questions you may have. I visit Odessa monthly. The rest of the time, because our statisticians and other personnel for IRB support are located on the Lubbock campus only, we can do phone, link, or Zoom meetings at any time, whatever is convenient for you. The review process typically only takes a couple of days. Now, on to the IRB. What is it? Who is it? Well, I can tell you for sure that it is not the Clinical Research Institute. We often get confused with the Institutional Review Board because of the types of questions that we're going to ask at the beginning. But we are not the IRB. The IRB stands for Institutional Review Board for the Protection of Human Subjects, and federal law defines its role, composition, and manner of functioning. Members of the IRB are volunteers and appointed by the institution, but who operate independently. So that means that when we submit something to the IRB and the IRB disapproves it for whatever reason, that means that the institution can't come around, the president can't come around and then approve the study. So they really are an independent committee. What do? Well, the primary purpose is to protect the rights and welfare of all human subjects, and they do this by confirming study validity and evaluating the safety for minimizing the risk to subjects. So this sounds like it might only be for prospective studies, but they have to look at exempt studies and other minimal risk studies. We can't just proceed without submitting to them and getting approval first. They want to help improve the quality of research that comes out of Texas Tech University Health Sciences Center. They want to help educate researchers. They want to protect researchers, and they want to protect the institutions as well as the study participants. So when an IRB gets an application, they review every protocol, and they have the ability to do 4 things. They can approve the study. They can require modifications before approving the study, and these are referred to as stipulations. They can disapprove the study, and they can stop any research that has been previously approved. Required documents. I alluded to this before. They want to see a protocol, a CRF or data sheet, the informed consent form if it's applicable, surveys and questionnaires, and any advertisements for subject recruitment. And in the protocol, they want to see the things that are listed there. Your aims, objectives. They want to see a background that shows you did the literature search. How are you going to do your study? What are the methods? How are you going to recruit study participants? What are the risks and benefits? They really are charged by the regulations to look at all of these. Then they're going to look at your data sheet. And for original research, they're only going to allow you to collect data that you have listed on this data sheet. So it's very important that when you're designing this data sheet that you think of everything, okay? And I know that that isn't always possible, so please be aware that if you start a study after you get IRB approval and you realize there's something you've left off of the protocol or you've left off of the data sheet, it isn't a problem. You just let us know and we will do an amendment for you and update that information with the IRB. Then once it's approved, you can go back and collect that additional information, okay? Informed consent form. If it's required for the study, again, the CRI is going to develop this for you, whether it's for adults or the assent form that is needed for minors, typically age 7 and up. Surveys and questionnaires they want to see, whether they're paper form or electronic. A note about electronic questionnaires, TTUHSC does support the Qualtrics system, so please be aware of that. Qualtrics is really a nice system that can help you do the surveys and other types of questionnaires electronically, where you can actually download the data easily for analysis later on. And we'll even do some simple analyses. And again, they want to see advertisements for subject recruitment to make sure that they're appropriate for that population. The IRB can do 3 types of review: exempt projects, which are for minimal risk projects, such as chart reviews, anonymous surveys, observing behaviors. They can do expedited review, which is also minimal risk, but has a few other steps involved with it, and it has to be evaluated by 2 members of the IRB. Or there's full board review, which is for projects that require greater than minimal risk, or you're using vulnerable populations, or unapproved drugs, devices, deceptions, that sort of thing. TTUHSC's IRB for Lubbock, Odessa. Lubbock and Odessa share an IRB panel. They meet the 4th Wednesday of every month, and the deadline is typically 9 a.m. on the Monday the week before that meeting. IRB criteria for approval. Well, they want to make sure the study is scientifically valid, that the risks are minimized in relation to the anticipated benefits, that you're selecting your participants in an equal and appropriate manner demographically. Participation has to be voluntary. They always have the right to withdraw from participation. That you have safeguards in place for vulnerable populations, such as students. If applicable, that we're getting consent and documenting it from everybody, and that privacy and confidentiality of subjects is protected. Here at TTUHSC, the HIPAA or Privacy Board is also the IRB. So that's why they wear 2 hats for the privacy and confidentiality of subjects. So in summary, use us, please, or we won't have a job. We are here for you, and so we want people to use us. Here is our email address, the offices for Odessa and Lubbock, the contact numbers, and our website, where you will find the CRI work order system, the protocol template, and other useful links. Here is the CRI team for Lubbock and Odessa. Welcome to TTUHSC, and we look forward to working with you.